A proper James Bond, Ian Fleming inspired shave. Today on Barber Dave Shaves and Such. Everybody, welcome to Monday. Hope everybody's doing well. As I said in the intro, today's shave is going to be a James Bond, Ian Fleming inspired shave, except for the brush. I am taking part in what we call November over on the Cadre, where we're using war brushes for the entire month. Don't know if I'm going to make it. I only have 3 brushes, and not enjoying this as much as I thought I would. But we'll get through it. The Smoke 620 is what I'm using. And the soap and the fragrance I'm using is widely thought of to be the James Bond soap. However, it was really Ian Fleming that really liked Floris. I think there was one reference in a book about Floris 89, but I cannot verify that. But this soap prefers a synthetic, as you know, a lot of British hard soaps are kind of a bear to lather. This one is hit and miss. With a synthetic, it's easy, but it's not quite as thick as I like it, but it'll suffice for what I'm going to shave with today. So we're shaving with basically everything Floris 89 and everything British, except for the brush. Okay, for the razor today, we are using the Monster, the George Walston Holmes Sons 8/8 for barber use. Even the watch I'm wearing today is Bond inspired. It is the 60th anniversary Bond limited edition. I'll try to show it on camera after this pass. The unique thing about it is it brought back the lollipop second hand. It is a non-date version, but the cool thing about it, just like the Snoopy Omega Speedmaster, the movement powers a graphic that I'll try to get on camera. I don't know if I'll be able to. But Floris 89 has got just a mysticism around Bond, and it's a fantastic nutmeg. You can wear it in the summer, but I think I prefer wearing it in the fall months. Okay, I'm going to show you, and like I said, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it goes through the initial graphic. Yeah, it's not going to come out very well. The initial graphic of when James Bond walks out, and maybe that's a little bit better. Anyhow, he comes out and he points the gun through the the opening scenes. And if you remember in James Bond movies, they have the 3 dots that go across. Well, that actually shows in the actual box as well. In fact, you have to press those 3 dots to get into the box. Kind of a Q inspired. Yeah, this brush does not like this soap at all, but it's doing its job. This razor is pretty effortless because it's such a beast. It's heavy. You know, you have to push it up your face against the grain pass. But it just falls down the face everywhere else. And this has been stropped 30 and 60 on linen and leather. I believe I honed, this was one of the last razors that I honed on my Shapton stones. And I took that through 30K and then stropped the you-know-what out of it. And I haven't had to do any touch-up. Yeah, this soap's one that you got to use a synthetic, or you just have to keep reloading them. As is typical of most British hard soaps, not the slickest. As far as residual after the shave. Although this shave is nice, it's not building the lather the way I like it because of this brush. But it will suffice. Also, just a reminder, if you guys like what you see, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share your videos, make comments. I'll try to get back to all of them. We're sitting at 1897 as of today, so we haven't quite broke the 1900. On the way to 2000 for our giveaways, so please, please, please. Yeah, this lather is junk today, but thankfully the razor is sharp enough to mow through this. This is what I would call one of the most dangerous types of lather. And what I mean by that is, no matter how much you hydrate it, it wants to disappear. Well, when the lather starts to disappear, the cushion and the slickness are not quite there, so you can stall the razor very easily. If this was a full hollow or a very lightweight 5/8 or 4/8 razor like a Nystrom, I would have probably already cut myself. Because of the lack of cushion and slickness. But with this 8/8, which is the blade is 1 inch, and it's heavy, being a heavy British grind, the weight makes up for it as far as pushing through the lather. That's one of the reasons why I chose this razor today, because I had a feeling that was going to happen with this boar brush. At first I thought I overhydrated the lather, but I didn't. And it's weird because with a synthetic brush, applying the lather, it's fantastic. So who knows? Good shave all the way around. The alum's probably going to light me up a little bit. But see, even with loading that brush for almost a minute and hardly adding much water, if you guys have seen when I put lather on my face, when I squeeze the lather out of the brush, usually there's a ton. This is it. So, won't be using the boar brush with this. This is the first time I've used the boar brush with this soap. Yeah, it's a little sketchy as far as cleanup is concerned. So I'm being real careful, because I could slice myself wide open with this. I'd almost classify this as a stunt shave. As I said, because of the heavy grind, that's the only thing that is saving this. Still a DS-BBS shave. Let's see. I have a feeling the alum may light me up a little bit. A little. Not as much as I figured. But I can even still feel the resistance with the alum bar being wet, so that just shows me that the soap is just not that slick. It's a great soap, but not with the... And that's why the determination of what brush you use with a soap makes, in my opinion, makes a big difference. Synthetics are going to be the easiest, and then I, of course, use this with a Badger, and it works out pretty well. Okay, just to review... for the razor, we use the George Walston Home & Sons 8.8 for barber use. Beast of a razor. For the soap, we used Floris 89. We really only have two soaps. We have Floris 89 and Elite. Yeah, it's just the residual slickness. You know, some people say, oh, that rinse is clean. Yeah, but you want to have some residual slickness because otherwise it's just tacky. So a fantastic boar brush with the right soaps. And that is the Semogue 620 with a two-banded boar knot. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful brush. Like I said, with the right soaps. Okay, and as per what's become kind of normal, we're using Quinn's Cucumber and Mint for the Witch Hazel. We'll let that percolate down just a little bit. Normally I don't wear a watch when I'm shaving, but since it was a Bond-inspired shave, I figured I'd wear the James Bond watch. Again, wonderful. I'm a huge Omega fanboy, so... Although in the original movies with Sean Connery, Omega didn't really start until Pierce Brosnan started wearing Omega. Prior to that, it was Rolex. It was the Submariner, the old vintage no-date Submariner. I don't know what the model number was, but that's the one that Sean Connery and Roger Moore, and I believe George Lansby, and I believe, oh God, I always forget the other guy. I believe they wore Rolex, and then when Pierce Brosnan took over, it went to Omega, and it was the 300M, the larger 300M, and then when Daniel Craig took over, he did use the Planet Ocean, and then of course the Omega 300M in this configuration. The last one was, or one of the last ones was No Time to Die, where it was titanium. Okay, for our aftershave today, again, Floris 89. If you haven't checked out Floris as far as a fragrance house is concerned, they're wonderful. I mean, really wonderful. They've got everything. In fact, the one I'll be using tomorrow with the Drinks and Daves. And speaking of Drinks and Daves, come see us tomorrow, 6 p.m., 5 p.m. Pacific. Come and see us. We're going to be talking about something. I'm not sure what. But this Floris has just got wonderful, wonderful fragrances. And they have a lot. And they have talc, too, now, from what I understand. I haven't been on that. But the EDP that I'll be using tomorrow is Eile. And that's a very smoky, Scottish type of fragrance. Okay, for our talc today, we are sticking with a British thing. I'm using Yardley, and this is Yardley Elegance. It just matches this this fragrance. Okay, and then for our actual fragrance, again, Floris 89. That's it, folks, for the shave for a Monday. I hope everybody enjoyed it and having a proper British James Bond. Okay, my accent's not good. Anyways, I hope everybody enjoys their Monday. We'll see you again tomorrow. This is Barber Dave, and this has been Barber Dave's Shaves and such. Hope everybody has a great day. And as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for being subscribers. We really appreciate what you do supporting the channel. And let's get to 2,000. We'll see you later.